Krull is a 1983 released fantasy film directed by Peter Yates.
The name of the film is taken from the planet on which it's set, Krull, and it opens with a shot of the planet from space and this big, spaceship that looks like a mountain approaching and then landing. And on board is the Beast and all his minions who are called the Slayers. Then we meet some of the residents of the planet. They're forming an alliance with another king and a prince. And the prince and princess are getting married. It's a wonderful day. And then the baddies come along and spoil it all and kidnap the princess and take her to the what's it called? The Black Fortress. That's what they've named the mountain. Yeah. The princess will go on a quest as they do. As you do in a fantasy film. You have to basically. And he encounters a kind of Obi-Wan Kenobi type who takes him to find the glaive, which is this sort of spinny ninja
It's the Force
disc
thing.
Basically, it's a weapon, but for killing the baddie, but a lightsaber, but not a lightsaber, obviously. So it shares some similarities with Star Wars. Let's just say. So, and you love it.
Well. Yeah, well, no, I'd not seen it before. You mentioned it. I'd heard of it, but I had never seen it before. And I'm not the biggest fantasy fan in the world. I didn't like Willow or Legend. I didn't really like Lord of the Rings, but I like Labyrinth, and I like that when it's real world and then they go into fantasy world. I quite like that.
So like Master of the Universe.
That's a good film. I enjoyed that. Looking at it, doing some research, I thought, well, it's directed by Peter Yates, who made Bullet.
He did, yeah.
One of the greatest films ever made, and he also made Robbery, which is a really good British kind of pre-Bullet type film, and then he did The Friends of Eddie Coyle and The Dresser. I mean, really good filmmaker, British filmmaker. So I thought, well, that's pretty good. And then the cast is really good. I mean, you've got Liam Neeson in there.
Yep.
You've got Alun Armstrong. You've got Freddie Jones, Francesca Annis, Lysette Anthony.
Yeah. Robbie
Coltrane. Bernard Bresslaw from the Carry On films.
Yep.
And Todd Carty from EastEnders. I mean, what's not to like? Well, I'm afraid I didn't really warm to it.
Oh, come on.
No, I mean, I thought it looked beautiful. And there's some really great scenes, stunning scenery.
There is, they've shot in some amazing places. I think they shot in Italy and stuff like that. It's some amazing sort of mountain sides.
Incredible, yeah. I mean, there's some really great. I mean, cinematographer, great. I'm not sure who it was, but really wonderful scenes. It just dragged for me. It was just some scenes, and I know there's a huge amount of. It's a cult film, isn't it? There's a lot of people who really
there is
like
a cult
it.
following.
So I apologise immensely to all you guys. But for me, I just found. I mean, like for instance, the beginning of the film. There's this beautiful kind of mountain range, and the hero of the story has to climb this mountain. And I'm literally thinking, how long is he going to take to climb? Is he literally
it's a big mountain.
Yeah, but come on, we have got editing tools in
film.
Well,
True.
There were things in there that I really liked. I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, that's maybe why I don't like fantasy films is because they literally are all the same. Guy has to go on a quest.
Yeah, I mean,
usually to save a princess.
Yeah.
It meets this band of merry men along the way, and then he saves the day.
Yeah,
great. It's just. I mean, it's kind of full of those kind of typical fantasy tropes. I mean, sexist, not. I mean, Jesus. I mean, there's literally.
And there is actually no women in it apart from the princesses there.
There's 4 women in this film.
Oh,
right? There's a princess who needs to be saved.
Yeah.
Then there's a woman who basically is there to feed the men when they're tired and hungry.
Oh, yes.
Then there's a woman for a kind of lustful encounter. And then there's a woman who's being punished for killing her baby because the father couldn't be asked to stick around. I mean, come on. Jeez.
Well, it was the 80s, different times.
Yeah.
We've moved on since then, slightly.
We've watched Transformers, haven't we, John? But... So no.
But no, I mean, what I would say is it's slightly different. I just like the look of it, and it's
I agree.
Yeah, the castle straight from the outside. Oh, it's a normal castle. Then you get inside, it's quite contemporary.
Yeah,
and obviously, and some of the knights,
the costumes, the bad guys' costumes were awesome. They were really good.
And even the knights, like in the castle, they've got armor on, but it is like fiberglass or something. So it's not immediately. It looks medieval, but it's not quite.
And I also liked because it started off slow, and I was like, oh god, it's going to be a bit ropey. But then when they killed the bad guy and that slug thing went down, what was all that about?
Well, that's what they've got inside this.
Well, that was cool.
Things. Yeah.
I did like that moment. I thought that was pretty exciting. But
Good. I'm glad. Glad you got something.
And
out
had some
of it.
good stunt work in there. People falling downstairs convincingly and crashing through windows.
Yeah.
And,
No, it was all. It was Vic Armstrong, who obviously did loads of Bond films and loads of other the big back in the 80s and the 90s. I think
although that bit when they were climbing up the wall, you see that?
Well, I did, yeah, they got
like
some sort of
clearly just being
levitation
pulled
device.
up,
Yeah,
just
it was
like-
a bit weird. And you got James Horner score as well.
Yeah. that was a good fantasy score.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a James Horner. You can hear like echoes of Aliens and a little bit of some of the Star Treks that he did. But no, I wouldn't say it's his greatest score, but you could definitely tell it's one of his. And yeah, some of the effects are a bit ropey, but it was 1983,
Yeah.
so
Ropey. I mean, they were Red Dwarf effects. They were hardly Star Wars. I mean that's what, because yes, you mentioned Star Wars. I mean, I think the film was marketed as being like a Star Wars meets Excalibur. And I'd say it's maybe more like Excalibur than Star Wars,
Well,
where you do have the laser.
the bad guys do have some laser sticks, don't
You
they?
can
or
see
whatever.
that, and there's a few obviously nods to Star Wars here and there. But effects-wise, I think Star Wars is a little bit on the higher budget.
Oh no,
side.
yeah, no,
This
I would
is-
agree.
this is quite. I didn't think it was terrible. I mean, I didn't like it because I don't like fantasy films. That's why I had reservations with it. But the cast is really great. And I tell you, the scene where they first meet the kind of vagabonds and those guys. So you've got Liam Neeson, Robbie Coltrane, Alun Armstrong, and Todd Carty.
And a few others.
And a few others. That is a really great scene when they all show up, and there's a funny line where they say something about follow us to this black fortress, and he says I wouldn't follow my father to the fortress. It's really funny lines, and those obviously these are great actors, British actors. Liam Neeson looking really young.
Yeah.
He did turn up in Excalibur as well a few years before it. And basically doing the same thing. Yeah, a good cast. I think I probably had reservations because of my non-loveness for fantasy films.
Your non-loveness.
My non-loveness, whatever that's. Yeah.
And we haven't even mentioned the horses with flaming feet because they run so fast.
That was amazing.
It doesn't follow any rules of physics or anything, which is kind of why I love it, because it just says whatever. We're on a completely different planet that doesn't relate to Earth at all, so we'll just do whatever the hell.
But there is a wonderful scene, actually. I think that it's looking, camera's looking down at the mountain range, and you see this flame. that was pretty cool. Yeah. So I mean, it's got some really nice touches in. I just didn't.
If you're not a fantasy fan, you probably won't get anything out of it.
Exactly. And I imagine you can watch it now.
Yeah. The DVD is quite simple to pick up. There is a Blu-ray, I think, in the States was released, that ditches all the extras that this has. So if you want to learn a bit more about the film after you've watched
There's
it,
some good stuff on there.
yeah, it's got a couple of commentaries, from some of the cast and crew. You've got Peter Yates on there behind the scenes, which is only about 20 minutes long, but you see the cast, out of character. You see Bernard Bresslaw without his Cyclops makeup on. They see them. You see them breaking in. Well, they didn't say they're breaking in, but they talk about the horses that we just mentioned. And I can't remember the breed, but they're quite big horses, and they had to train them to be ridden because they got
those. They got quite furry.
Yeah, they're not like
they're
not a bit like shy
Shire
horses, but
okay.
slightly different. But yeah, they haven't. Apparently, they used to be ridden in Scotland centuries ago, but haven't been used for that for a long time. But it was just a interesting little tidbit I picked up from that.
Nice.
Interestingly, you've also got the comic book, as was the trend back in the day. Any sort of movie like this that would appeal to kids would have a comic book tie-in. I think maybe because once you'd seen it at the cinema, you might not see it again for a long time, because it would come out on VHS, but it probably wouldn't be for quite some time. And in 1983, not everyone had a VHS player. So if you wanted to relive Krull, you had the comic book, and that was it. So, and that's how I first discovered it. I had, I didn't have the original American comic, but I had some British comic that had obviously serialised it, and I had the last part of it. And so I saw the end. I knew what the end of the film was before I watched the movie.
But you watched the movie back in the 80s.
I can't remember.
Because there's also that. Because obviously, I'm 40 now.
I think
I watched it when I was 10.
Yeah, I can't remember when I first saw it, but
it's a lovely cover.
It is, isn't it? There is the lovely glaive with its wonderful things sticking out.
I bet that was a toy in a cereal box once upon a time as well.
Could well have been. I imagine there was a toy, probably not quite as sharp.
No. Well, that was Krull, and hope you enjoy this video. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook. We're on there.
Yep.
And leave a comment. You know.
Like it and subscribe. Definitely subscribe, please, now that we need 1,000 subscribers to make any money.
Yeah, it's going to take forever to get that.
So, yeah, even if you're that fast, just subscribe anyway. just for the hell of it. Or watch it anyway, that'd be good, because we also need thousands of views.
Yeah.
So,
or watch some of our other ones, because we've got quite a few now.
We've got lots to choose
28,
from.
29 sitting there.
Yep. Go for
dust.
it.
Do that.
So, yeah, we'll see you again soon for another one.